What's going on, people? Welcome to Man Knows Football. And it feels like forever since anything's come out on this channel. But to be honest with you, I've needed a couple of days of rest. You get me? Man's one person running this channel, taking care of the household and that. Sometimes your battery gets on low and you just need to chill. And on top of that, I was just saying to Younes backstage, like a lot of the stories that we're seeing now is not really too different from what we've been speaking about, especially like from the last episode of Transfer News, episode 5. I think a lot of what needed to be said about the transfers has been said, but obviously we're here today with some news. I can't really say there's been too much updates, but first of all, let me welcome Younes back to the platform. What's going on, my bro?
Yes, bro. I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to have you back. Obviously, we know the real reason why you were gone was to fix your McDonald's Wi-Fi, innit?
Yeah, I can't say too much. I must plead the fifth. Yeah, let's just say some negotiations were done, and I promise they were not under duress. They had the choice to make their own decisions under no pressure. Nah, but we got the situation taken care of. I actually spoke to the engineer because after that live, I went upstairs to my roof. Obviously, we're in the first 3 minutes. I can't say what I was doing. But if you know me, you can probably have a guess what I was doing up there. Do you know what I mean? And I saw the engineer up there and I was like, listen, I've just come off the phone to you lot. What's going on? Like, why do you keep messing with my internet every time I'm going live? And he just said, oh, there's an issue with the box in this building and we're just going to replace it, all this and that. But they've done that. All of that stuff's taken care of. Hence, we're coming back to the Chris connection once again. But transfers, my bro. Transfers. Now, the reason why I've chosen today to speak is because a certain Matt Law has come out of an article that I would like to start off with. Now, as you know, sometimes with technology, Guni can be an absolute shambles. So I'm not going to put this up on the screen. I will read it to you, though. Yeah, we'll go through it stage by stage. Again, this is behind the paywall. So what I'm doing is a little bit naughty, but I cannot give you the whole article. Yeah, so I'm going to give you some of it. I'm going to give you some information, people. All right, but here we go. So, Matt Law today has come out of an article on the Telegraph. Thomas Tuchel has been promised that he can take the lead on on Chelsea's transfer business by the club's new owners in a shift designed to move closer to Manchester City and Liverpool's models. And that could be good news from Romelu Lukaku's hopes of rejoining Inter Milan if Tuchel informs Todd Bowley that he believes the club record signing should be allowed to leave Chelsea. Just as Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp drive decisions over incomings and outgoings at City and Liverpool, the Bowley-led group now in charge of Chelsea have told Tuchel that his voice will be the loudest on transfers and first-team football decisions. So I'm going to stop there. That's a clear message that the manager will be backed fully. Now, here's the thing. A lot of us have been asking for it. I've been one of them. But I've always been to the extent of I agree with backing the manager if he has a vision that makes sense in the terms of the players that he's going to buy and put together in this team. Anything happens with his future, the next manager can come in and at least identify a style of football that they can play with instead of tearing up and starting all over again. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, that's why I'm caught up in between allowing a manager to have this much say in the decisions. I don't think Tuchel's the wrong person to have it. Let's have it right. But I just think when we're thinking possibly, 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the line, we don't know with these owners if they're going to crack the whip early or they're just going to give chances. That much we don't know. But what do you think of that? Let's start off with that point. What do you think?
No, you know what? I see where you're coming from, but from my perspective, I think there's a level of maybe PTSD that we've had as Chelsea fans and what we've seen with previous managers. But we have to be honest, those previous managers too were not given full control of transfers. I'll give an example. We ended up with Deadwood like Zappacosta coming in. Do you remember? Right?
Yeah.
We didn't want Zappacosta. Well, Conte didn't want Zappacosta. Conte wanted Sandro. Yeah, and exactly. We bottled that and we had to settle for something else. That's the point. When you're looking at this situation, Um,
I'm still
there's an
here.
element of risk. Yeah, no
Go on.
problem. There's an element of risk that comes down with it, in terms of it's either the club's going to be the ones that make the decisions and the manager will have to go with it, which is kind of what we've been doing, or the manager has the say and then the final buck is with the manager. And if it fails and if it flops, then you blame the manager and you get them gone. But if it succeeds, you're winning. Because at that point, the blueprint is there, the profile of player the manager wants is there, the way we play football is there, the success increases. So we've not given that much control to a manager, I don't believe, since first time Mourinho.
Yeah, facts.
I don't think we've fully given a manager the book. Here you go, do what you want. Since that, we've always had issues. And even first time Mourinho had Shevchenko show up at the training ground. Do you remember? He didn't buy Shevchenko. He just rocked up. He's like, what are you doing here? Oh, I was bought. What? By who? What? By Roman. Well, crap. So this is good. This is good. When you look at Pep and you look at Klopp and you're looking at some of the models now where it's working, we need to do this. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we know we turn to Tuchel and we're like, yo, you are the one that has to deal with the consequences of this because it's your responsibility. So, but at the same time, I'm hoping the scouting department at Chelsea fixes itself. And now we know that Thomas Tuchel is going to be the one driving that. So
yeah,
that's a good sign.
So yeah, no, it is a good sign. But then as well, because look, I have to, we've got to play devil's advocate and play both sides. So now that, he is being trusted with certain decisions, in terms of with transfers. So now a lot more accountability is going to have to be held with him going into this new season, especially if he gets, several signings and in key positions that we need to address. So obviously we can't say now, we can't even ask the question now because we haven't done any business. Nothing's come through the door, nothing's left the door. So, we don't know what to expect. We can't set any expectations. So that's going to be interesting. Do I feel that Tuchel's the man to be going forward? Stupid question. 100%. I know you feel the same way. He definitely, out of everybody, he deserves to be trusted considering everything that he's been through. So me personally, I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see what's actually true in the media, what his actual targets are. But we're going to start off with the first player, and let's get on to Ousmane Dembele. Now, I know I've been speaking about him over the past few transfer news episodes, but some news, again, Matt Law has spoken on this, but I did quote E.S. Grimes with some of her tweets last time, and she did say along the lines, now this is the thing, I did also say in the video that her English is not perfect, so sometimes when she words things on Twitter, it might mean slightly different to what this is what I'm saying, so sometimes it's difficult to decipher, but what she was pointing at was that the deal was pretty much agreed, or she used the word done.
She said done deal. Yeah, she said done deal.
So whether that done deal means like what we all know here from a legal standpoint, a contract cannot be signed with Chelsea Football Club because his own contract at Barcelona, I believe it runs out on the 30th of June. So you can't sign a contract. You can't really even, unless there's been, an agreement between the clubs as well, and they understand. Chelsea can't really say much about it, and neither can the player. So in terms of this going quiet and us not seeing anything to at least the first week of July, possibly, that's to be expected. I do believe from the standpoint that, we are the favored club that he wants to join.
Yep. You can still agree deals though as well. Let's remember, there have been clubs that announce a deal is done subject to the 1st of July will be the commencement, the beginning of said contract, for example. Or will be joining the club on the 1st of July because 30th of June is always the end of a contract. But apparently, even according to Ben Jacobs and some of the other guys, we should be hearing something this week about Dembele.
So they're saying they're saying that, anything of a done deal and everything's been agreed has been a bit short. It's a bit short of the mark at the minute. But where I'm just looking for where Matt Law was speaking about that. So here we go. So Dembele's Barcelona contract expires this summer, which could make him a free agent, although Chelsea are not thought to be close to reaching an agreement with the 25-year-old and have other attacking targets such as Manchester City's Raheem Sterling and RB Leipzig's Christopher Nkunku. So according to Matt Law, we're not actually close to the player coming.
That's a weird one because Nkunku's we already know is staying, isn't he?
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to come to. Unless
he's not going anywhere.
ES Grimes did tweet earlier, unless like an offer of 80 million euros plus, I think it's 20 million on add-ons or something.
Yeah, the fee has to be mad. Yeah,
it has to be. And then on top of that, Nkunku has to agree to leave the club. Apparently, he doesn't mind staying there.
He's happy.
He's happy where he is. So he's not really forcing the situation himself. So I was going to come on to say that in terms of Nkunku, I'm more with him staying at Leipzig for at least one more season. Before I forget the super chat, Gabriel, thank you very much for the super chat. Have you guys seen the Chelsea women documentary? Since you brought it up, I will definitely check that out at some point this week. 100%. Thank you for the heads up on that. I haven't seen that.
I've only seen one clip. It's on Insta. There's one clip of Emma Hayes in the dressing room grilling the players. Beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like I've got to watch. Sorry, people. These allergies are killing me as well. It's about that time of the season. Where I'm lucky is that my eyes don't go crazy, but you see my sinuses and I get itchy bruv. It's not the one. But we move. So in terms of the Dembele situation, I still strongly believe that we are in pole position to sign him. That much I do.
I think he'll sign.
I think because I was more leaning to him staying at Barcelona because A, that's the easier option. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And B, he's actually starting to pick up form, and he's got Aubameyang, who he's got a good relationship with, and they also played together at Dortmund, which people tend to forget. So that could have been an easy option. So I think it's that deal is going to get done. But let's move on to Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling. We're going to do them both together because obviously they both play at the same club. But we have been linked more so to Raheem Sterling. I think there's more legs to the Raheem Sterling story than the Gabriel Jesus story. So we'll start off with Gabriel Jesus. So today I've seen a couple of reports that we are trying to muscle in on a deal as well as Tottenham for Gabriel Jesus. Manchester City want like £42.5 million. Arsenal haven't gone above, I believe it's £30 million or something like that. It does have 1 year left on his contract. And what we do know is that Manchester City they're not in a position where they care whether a player stays or not. They're just that wealthy, and the football that they're playing at the minute, it's working for them. They're still, if these two players still stay at Manchester City, they're still by far in the head favourites for winning the league. It's not going to make a difference to them. But in terms of Jesus, do you feel like that's more of the agent putting pressure on Arsenal to kind of finalize the deal rather than us having tangible interest in the player?
I think so. I think that's a very plausible theory, and it happens all the time. The time, because just a few days ago it was quite apparent. Apparently, Jesus and Arsenal were actually quite close, and now all of a sudden, there's interest from not just Tottenham, Chelsea, Real Madrid. I mean, why Real Madrid want Gabriel Jesus? So when you hear all of that, it might just be trying to get Arsenal to act a little bit more urgently, a smokescreen, basically. But at the same time, I'm not shocked if Chelsea were actually linked with Jesus because of what Chelsea actually need. Personally, though, I wouldn't.
I personally wouldn't either, to tell you the truth. I don't now hear what I'm trying to say. I don't think Gabriel Jesus is a terrible player. Do I think he's a superstar? Absolutely not. I don't think he is, but I think he's a decent player. I think his goals to game ratio is very, very good, actually. Also, Premier League experience is also a massive plus.
Sorry to cut you off. The goals to game ratio is actually my issue. Because,
is it really?
Because if what Chelsea needs, Chelsea, as far as I'm concerned, we need to try and find, as I said in my video earlier, we need to try and get someone elite, or someone we know is going to deliver the goods consistently. We have a player like Jesus, 236 games. I think it's 95 goals, 48 assists, right? I would like to have a player that's in the margin of a goal to game to a goal every 2 games, max. If it goes beyond the goal every 2 games, I don't think they're elite enough.
Don't want him. Mm-hmm.
That's just because we've had so much to do with inconsistencies and players that are not clinical and all that. And there's been moments for City where I've seen Jesus miss what we've
Same with the other lad as well, Sterling.
Same with Sterling. There's and Sterling's kind of different. Sterling and the way he plays. What frustrates me with Sterling is how much time he keeps on the ball, how many times he loses possession, the wrong pass in the final third. The same issues that we get in our front three. You know what I mean? I'm like, are they better than what we have at the moment? I would say yes, but that doesn't mean we should be going for them. You know what I mean? We shouldn't be going for just anyone who we know is at least a bit better than what we have at the moment. We should be going for the best. We want to win the title. We should be going for the best. So that's my theory on it. Jesus is a good player. I just don't think he's what we need.
100%. Hey, big up my brother Roma in the building. Man says no to Jesus, man. Hey, I'm with you on that one. For me, you know what my agenda is in it. It's just whether it's realistic. My agenda is Ousmane Dembele. That does look realistic. That looks like it's gonna happen. But in the same window, I would love Leroy Sané, bruv. And I know some people are like, but he ain't really been cutting it at Barca. Like, motivation kind of looks like an issue for him. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know, you know, like, you can't... you see quality like that, I don't like to write it off. And the problems that I am hearing has been a lot to do with like internal issues between the players due to like the situation of him going there and him getting such a large contract. It kind of rocked the boat a bit at Bayern Munich, hence why you saw your Alaba leave and Lewandowski now wants to leave. Some of the players were like, whoa, like, we've won multiple leagues, we've got a Champions League. This brother ain't even won that. Like, just, you're not trying to raise up the peas. Like, what's going on here? So over there, I feel like we can take advantage and see what we can do over there. The situation with Lewandowski, actually, let's come on to that because there's not really too much to say on that. Although there's an update from ES Grimes. I'm still, listen, regardless of how people feel about it, I'm still going to refer to her, you know, because I still think she's 100%. 100%. I reckon
I think so too.
Still that, you get me? So big up ES Grimes. But she did say something along the lines of, had Lewandowski kept quiet, him and his agent had not gone so public about wanting to leave Bayern Munich, he could have possibly got his move. So actually him speaking against Bayern Munich in the manner of which he did might have jeopardized his opportunity to leave. So people, don't be surprised if you see Lewandowski stay at Bayern Munich. Yeah, and I see Joey, big up yourself as well. A long time, my brother, saying Lewandowski only wants Barcelona. Yeah. Now, as much as I believe that Barcelona will find some kind of way to get themselves out of this ridiculous debt that they appear to be in, it's just a matter of time. That's the problem. Because, look, if what we know will work is if we provide, if Chelsea just go to Bayern and say, what, this, you want 50 million for him, here's the 50 million, we'll talk to the player, the deal's going to be done. I just think it will be done. I think it will be as simple as that. Bayern are not going to just wait around and hope for the move to happen. And I don't think Lewandowski will either, especially in the situation Barca are in. So for this one, I think it's a matter of, you know, whether Chelsea strike early, but that depends on the next topic that we're going to come on to, and that is Romelu Lukaku. Because let's have it right, Younes. I don't think the policy, at least this transfer window, because Marina's still in the reins, I don't think much is going to change. So in terms of the 1 in, 1 out, I still see that happening. So Lukaku is sort of like, he's a main domino in what could be a lot of transfers. You see what I'm saying? But what we do know about this brother is that he has gone on further to antagonize the situation. He has made contact with some of the higher ups at Inter and apparently has spoken to some of the players about returning and trying to get that Scudetto back from the red side of Milan. Younes, what have you heard about that? Because I've only heard like little here and there, because for me, I made my peace with the situation back when, after the interview. That's when I made my decision. So for me to see this stuff, I'm not really too invested in it. But what have you heard?
Well, DeMarco yesterday come out and said that Lukaku's been forcing or trying to force to move since Christmas. Right? Now, when did the interview come out? The 30th of December. Right? The interview was done just after the Man United game, late November. So we now know immediately after that interview, even post-interview, he was forcing the move up until when he got caught and he was forced to do the apology, and then he done that fake apology. I'm going to call it fake because that's what I think it was, PR. And up until now, he's still just trying to force a move. Apparently, he's been in touch with the coach, the leadership at Inter Milan, former players, current players.
Yeah.
Like, apparently it's just, doing everything in his power. And now we know, and we've heard from people like, not just Fabrizio Romano spoke about it today and said, his intention is to go back to Inter. Chelsea are looking at the options. Ben Jacobs has said the same. Matt Law's acknowledged it. It's clear to see now that Lukaku wants to go. And, our gut feelings from that time, back when it all happened, when people were a bit half and half, was legit. We were right. So, he's been forcing it since Christmas. And even post-apology and all of that, he's just been on the same vibe. So, he's got to go,
nothing's changed. Nothing's changed so far. Even in terms of his performances, we can't really say he lit up the place at any point after that interview to even try and make things better. Let's have it right. He was injured. He did suffer from COVID as well, as did several other players. So we're not going to get onto him for that. But outside of that, he had plenty of opportunities to redeem himself, and he continues to just put himself in the mud. Now, look.
That's the madness, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, apparently, one factor might be in the way of Lukaku leaving Chelsea Football Club, and that is Marina Granovskaya. Because, look, Marina did a lot of work in convincing him to come to Chelsea Football Club in the first place last season. And remember, she still is in charge of the transfers for at least this season because of the whole transition situation for this window.
This transfer window, perhaps.
Yeah. Now, several people in the chat have said Marina's not in charge. Todd's in charge. That is true. But remember, Marina is still a key part of this transition, and it doesn't sound like she's been relieved of any of her positions at all. It sounds like this summer's going to continue. This summer's going to continue as normal. So again, like it's also a situation where Lukaku could stay, but then there's interest as well from Bayern Munich, though. Younes, they could be one of our saving graces because we know the finances over at Inter Milan is kind of peak because all they can afford is a 20 million euro loan fee, and then I believe it's
even then they're struggling
wages. A third of his wages they can contribute to, and then the rest we have to pay, which I don't believe we'll entertain. But apparently, if Lewandowski does leave, then Bayern might be looking at Lukaku, apparently 70 million euros plus bonuses. And I don't think he'll have to take as much as a pay cut as he would if he went to Inter Milan. And again, this is all from Ia Scrimes. If you want to check that out, check out her account. But apparently he is happy for Bayern to be a fallback option to Inter.
I mean, this is the thing, because he's driven all of this because he wants to go back to Inter. Like, I don't think it's a case of I want to leave Chelsea. I want to go back to Inter Milan. And that means having to leave Chelsea. So I don't know what his true intention is in terms of does he just now want to leave the club, or does he just want Inter and that's it? My opinion, look, if he goes, fantastic. Yeah. Even if it's a loan, even if it means we have to pay a portion of the salary, I'm that desperate. I'm like flipping up. But I know Chelsea would be stupid to do something like that. It'd be dumb. From a fan perspective, it's easy to say. But from people running Chelsea, it'd be dumb if we just accepted anything. So I can understand maybe why they're trying to play a little bit of hardball, get a better deal, and make a proper compromise. But if this guy stays, honestly, if I'm Thomas Tuchel, bruv, stay at home.
I honestly think, like, my opinion is this situation now of Lukaku is untenable. He cannot be at the club. He's absolutely
untenable. Don't even come to training.
Yeah, he's dragged us. In fact, do you know what? I've seen several people say this. And before I've decided to be knee-jerk, I've actually sat down and thought about it. He is actually 10 times worse than what Courtois was. 100%. And I'm not allowing 100%. This Champions League performance in the final to blind my view on the situation. I still don't respect what he did, but let's have it right with Courtois. He told the board what his intentions were. He wasn't the issue. The issue is that they weren't doing it in the time frame that he wanted, and he behaved wrongly. and forced the move and stopped going to training and all that stuff. That's where he was wrong, and the comments of what he said afterwards. But in terms of Lukaku, record signing, you're being paid over 300k a week. You've said all this about trying to come back and make things happen at Chelsea Football Club and unfinished business, and this is how you're treating the club. Get out of the club. You need to get out of the club, honestly. Like by nooks or cranny, you need to get out of the club. But Younes, in terms of his replacements, obviously we've mentioned Lewandowski. Is there anybody else in your radar that you would consider?
It's unrealistic, but look, if Conte wants Lukaku, you know who we want in return.
That's just never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
never gonna happen.
It's just not gonna happen.
But yeah, I mean, if there's a time to have a double whammy here, yeah, to finally do business with Spurs, give Conte what he wants, and what I believe is actually screw them at the same time, is take Lukaku, no problem, but give us Harry Kane. I think they'd end up 10 times worse.
But Conte,
and we'd end up better.
From what I hear is that Conte would want to use them both at the same time.
That's not happening.
Exactly. I don't even think Daniel Levy goes for it either. So that's just a whole different story in itself. But one replacement that I thought I would have wanted, but I've gone off massively. I've done some deep diving into this Darwin Núñez guy.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Especially in this Chelsea team.
It's starting to feel like he's being almost pushed as like, I don't know. It's like he's being pushed down people's throats now at this point. I don't know. The energy from it is just off. It's weird.
I'll say. Ain't they looking for a 2-year loan deal for Lukaku? Yeah, apparently that's what they're looking for, and the option to buy. But we know how Italian clubs move with the option to buy. More times out of 10, they're just not going to activate it, bro. But this is the thing with Darwin Núñez. What I'll say is that I'm not putting his finishing at any doubt. It's everything else around it. Technically, what I'm seeing, not really where he needs to be in the possession kind of based style football. Aerially, for his height, he's surprisingly poor. On the ball, in terms of dribbling and trying to beat his man, he's not all that either. So basically, he might be a bum if he came to Chelsea or a possession-based team. In terms of a team that like to play on a transition and like a Liverpool or something, maybe it's a little different. Get me on the front foot and that, and then catching them on counters and so on and so forth could work out for him. But at Chelsea, no, thank you. No, thank you. I wouldn't want him at Chelsea, especially for the price that they're asking for. And I think unless Ten Hag is kind of going for that transitional / counter-attacking style at Manchester United, I think he's going to struggle massively there. Absolutely massively there. So let's see what happens over there.
It's hard to pinpoint a name though. The other name is really difficult.
But you know who I do like, and I know, and people, I know there were several other names that we were going to discuss, but Younes doesn't really have much time. Maybe we can do a part 2 at some point this week, Younes, if you've got time. But before we do go, I just wanted to mention one player. I wanted to know what you lot thought about him. Again, I haven't done too much deep diving in the guy, but from the glances that I have seen of him in terms of his attributes, Gianluca Scamacca, I know Arsenal are looking at him. He is a striker over at Sassuolo. I believe he's 22 years old. The guy is built like an absolute brick shithouse, and his technique, he is. And the technique that this guy has for his age and his size, I mean, for his age don't matter. If you're good enough, you're old enough. I don't even know why I said that. But for his size, looking good, still very raw, still young, but in terms of like finishing, good, on the ball, good. Looks like and in terms of his build, looks built for the Premier League. Looks like the kind of player who would have very, very good hold-up play as well. He's very, very young. I just wanted to have you seen the player, or has anybody in the chat seen enough of him to say whether he's worth giving the chance? But from what I've seen of him, I don't think he looks too bad.
I'll be honest, I haven't. I've heard of the name, and I know that he's in the Italian national team. Few apps at least, not too much, but I haven't seen enough.
Do you know what?
I'm looking him up now, and I can only judge by with what I'm seeing.
His YouTube clips.
But he's nearly 2 meters tall, so that's a good start.
Yeah, no, but you know what? Actually, have a look at him. Have a look at him and let me know. And let us know what you think on the next episode. When do you think you'll be able to do a part 2? Will you have any time this week or following week? Obviously, I don't want to try and pressure you into
no, this week. This week should be fine. But I'll keep you posted.
So definitely we'll come on to part 2. Hopefully, we're gonna have some updates on certain players. Maybe we might see some finalized business. Who knows? But one player that I'm going to say is not going to be finalized next time will be Ousmane Dembele, and why that is his contract situation. So please bear that in mind, people. If the situation with that goes cold and there's nothing much said, just remember 30th of June is the day where he can officially, talk to whoever he wants. He's a free agent and put on whatever jersey he decides to put on. Get me? So it is what it is. But Younes, thank you very much for joining me on this live today. It's been a minute since I've put anything up on the channel, so I appreciate you joining in today. What have you got on your channel already up, or what have you got coming up?
So just today I've managed to put up the latest on what I thought with Thomas Tuchel being given control, the links with Jesus, Sterling briefly, and yeah. Apart from that, it's just keeping up on the tabs of what's going on everywhere. There's not really been much massive news elsewhere either. But when there is, and it's enough to talk about, I'll definitely upload on the channel. So yeah.
100%. We're gonna next episode we'll come on to the Ligt. We'll come on to a few other targets. 100%. We'll chop it up a little bit more. It's just Younes and myself are a bit tight for time for today. But in terms of this channel, we are still on that road to 10K. But guess what? We are under 200 subscribers away, so we can make this happen. Definitely, we can make this happen before the end of the week, people. I'm going to need to ask for your help once again. Just because we're nearly there doesn't mean that we have to take the foot off the pedal. Share the thing. You get me? Share the platform. Let the people them know. Smash the like button. Leave your thoughts in the comments if you're tuning in after this live. Yeah, all of that good stuff. All your interactions matter. We're right there on 10K. You get me? But big up everybody that did join in. Big up everyone in the chat. You get me? Love. As always, we will be back for part 2 where we will be discussing more of the transfer targets and the likelihood of them coming to Chelsea Football Club and maybe some of the players that are going out. But listen, people, love as always, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, please make sure you do stay safe. Peace out, people, man.